If you get ghosted by your leads, here's why.
Build your dream today. We show you the way. Luxury leads come to play. New homes here to stay. Marketing's our game. Elevate your name. Reach for the fame. Never just the same. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets to luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains.
All right, welcome everyone to today's Midweek Tune-Up, your quick midweek calibration for new construction, marketing, real estate, mindset, and marketing momentum. Every Wednesday at 1:30. I am Damon Green, and
I am Nathaniel Crawford.
all right, so this is a general conversation. If you have specific questions about what we're covering, make sure that you join the live AMA coaching session next Tuesday, January 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. More details on that as we go along. Also, we are in week 3, so we're going deeper into step-by-step hand-holding accountability as well as specific coaching for new construction, buyer attraction, new construction lead generation. So we have the 6-week new construction buyer attraction accelerator waiting list. Applications open in a couple weeks. It's application only. You must apply and get approved in order to attend. There were 25 spots available. This is virtual. This is a hybrid of our in-person 4-day, 3 to 4-day event that we do. I actually have a gentleman flying in tomorrow. He's actually flying today. We're doing one-on-one. So if you want one-on-ones, you want to come to Tampa or Atlanta or Fort Lauderdale, we do have opportunities to take what we teach you in the 6 weeks or the 3 days one-on-one. However, the waiting list is for anyone that wants to get this guidance and get the accountability, get the coaching, get hands-on help from Nate and myself as we guide you through the process. Now, you don't have to wait until February to get help. We actually have a 5-week free training, so you're not waiting on the sidelines. You're actively learning and getting specific structures and strategy. We're currently in week 3, the buyer attraction phase. So you're going to learn how new construction actually works in today's market, how to find inventory that never shows up in the MLS, because 50% of the inventory for new and pre-construction is not in the MLS. How builders' incentives impact monthly payments and total savings, so you'll understand how builders' incentives work. And then how to identify which communities have real buyer demand, which areas people are relocating from locally as well as out of state, and leveraging that information for marketing. as well as priority review when the applications are open for the February cohort. That's actually supposed to be February cohort. When those applications open, you will get first priority. We will look at your application first and you'll get first acceptance. So go to the iconicagent.com/waiting list. Yes, I just thought about that, Nate. That's just I'm gonna get it. All right, so recap of what we covered so far. Uh finding hidden new construction, building relationships with on-site sales staff and developers and how important that was, as well as ways that you can do that. Building your own private off-market new construction database, finding new construction buyer demand and how to leverage that, as well as migration information, and then how to choose the most profitable communities to promote. So today we're going to talk about realtor's worst nightmare. That's actually me being tongue-in-cheek. Follow-up. I've spoke to thousands, literally thousands of agents on the phone, and the overwhelming, the 90% of them say, yeah, my follow-up's not that great. Now, there's always opportunity for improvement. That's the reality of life. But follow-up is what gets deals done. Agents like the right now money. Right now money's cool, but more money is going to be made in the follow-up. So we're going to talk about the 3 types of follow-up necessary to convert new construction leads into buyers and how to become a memorable agent. All right, so let me stop sharing here now. Put this on the multi-speaker view. And let me close this out here. All right, cool. So Nate, let's just dive into this. So first and foremost, there's 3 types of follow-up that we're going to discuss. There's direct follow-up, there's automated follow-up, and then there's top-of-mind follow-up. And when we say follow-up, we're using text message, phone calls, voicemails, email. Those are all being used interchangeably. So the first one is direct follow-up. So when leads come in, Nate, we have conversations around this as far as automation and direct follow-up, but initially when a lead comes in, and there's 2 different schools of thought, like Nate will lean on the automation, he'll talk about that once we get to the automation piece, and then I'll use somebody like an Earl or a Jari or a couple other folks that will, regardless of automation, they'll go pick the phone up and dial right away. They're traditionally classically trained real estate agents. So when a lead comes in, following the process that we talked to up to this point, you've got call them immediately, text them immediately, email them immediately. And typically you'll want to do that over 5 to 7 days. I think KW called it the 5 or 7 days of pain. There's double dialing. So Nate, give some brief overview of that and what your thoughts are on, because there's multiple schools of cat. There's multiple schools of thought with.
Yeah. Well, I think there's sort of the baseline of what we teach sort of covers all the bases, right? So someone expresses interest, they're gonna get that phone call, whether you're available to make the call or not. We have processes in place to help them get that call. They're gonna get that text message, and they're gonna get that email. I think to your point about what a lot of more classically trained agents are gonna do is they're gonna be in a position where they're able to do a manual call outside of any other calls that may go out. So I think that's one powerful thing that a lot of agents use. But another perspective of that, and why I used to lean so heavily on it, is I expect to be busy, right? So I expect that I'm going to get a bunch of leads in, and those leads come in, and I'm with a client, or I'm talking to another lead when a lead comes in, and having processes in place that allow you to clone yourself to help those, especially online leads. When people are searching online, one of the big factors there is instant gratification. People will be scrolling through Zillow or Google or wherever, and they're just clicking. That person might be actively looking for a condo in Fort Lauderdale, and unless they get a response that makes them feel acknowledged, they're going to keep looking. right? So that immediate follow-up is what helps them to say, okay, Damon heard me. All right, he's going to get back to me. He's going to get me the information I need. He got me something right now. So having those immediate touch points are very, very powerful, and putting them in place in a way that they complement if you're able to do it in real time too, right? So a lead comes in and I can stop what I'm doing and call them. That's great. On top of them still getting an email and a text message. But a lead comes in and I'm in the middle of a walkthrough with a client, they still get a phone call and a text message and an email. So you're covering those bases both ways. And I think that's one of the best ways to sort of maximize your time and wear a belt and suspenders, so you don't get caught with your pants down.
Yeah. Now, so let me ask you this: do you think you can over communicate? You got automation going out. You're calling me.
No, they want the information. You give it to them in
Exactly.
all formats, right? I want you to tell me about this condo in Fort Lauderdale. Text me about it, email me about it, send me a smoke signal. You can reach me by Telegram. You can reach me like whatever. They want the information. So you can't over communicate if they've requested the information. So if you can be in danger of under communicating, right? So if someone requests information and you just fire off an email and you don't know if it ended up in their spam folder or not, or nowadays you send them a text message, if the text message ended up in their spam folder or not. So you don't know. So it's very, very much possible to under communicate. But I don't think in the scenario of someone requesting information that you can under communicate that information to them.
Yes. And remember, with this entire process, you're attracting new construction buyers, luxury new construction buyers, and leads. They are finding you because they're actively looking for new construction, said community, new construction in this area. So as Nate alluded to, they're looking for information. So over communication it's probably not going to be as annoying as if you flip it and you're circle prospecting. You're just picking a bunch of expireds and calling people that didn't ask to be called. That's a different type of follow-up, and it's interesting because I see more aggressive follow-up there than when it's inbound. So you can't over communicate. It's very hard to over communicate with somebody when they're asking for the information. Now, here's some of the cons of the direct. It's not scalable, number one. If you've got thousands of leads, you just no way you can call all of them. So you have to have systems in place. And then you also have to rely on your memory and have systems in place to say, oh, I need to call this person or I need to call that person. So that's your direct follow-up. So next we have automation. So with automation, it's, as Nate mentioned earlier, you can combine it with the direct. So the way the automation works, you can use drip email sequence. Typically, we suggest at least 30 days, but we're actually going to go out a year. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And that's the long term. You've got your double tap and triple tap. So one of the most effective ways that you can reach somebody in every communication style they have is to reach them in every communication style they have. So we have what we call the double tap and triple tap. So the double tap is the standard. You send an email. This happens with the first 2 weeks of communications. This is what you want to do. You send an email to the lead that requested information about new construction project, luxury new construction. And then within an hour time frame, you send them a text message and say, hey, Nate, did you receive the email about place that I just sent? Let me know if you have questions. So now they're going to be like, oh, let me go check my email. I don't see it. Is it in my spam? It's not in my spam. No, Damon, I didn't receive that. Can you resend it? Now you're having a conversation, you have dialogue. You know they reached out to you. They know you're trying to reach them. They're responding back. That's one. So that's the double tap. Now the triple tap is you send an email, then you send a text message telling them you sent them an email, then you send a voicemail telling them you sent a text message and a email. So that's 3 ways you're telling them, look, I am really trying to get a hold of you, Mr. or Mrs. Lead, and I'm pulling out all stops. Now you can automate all 3 of those. And again, I want to emphasize this. These are people that raised their hand and said, hey, I want more information about this place. That is typically what you'll want to do for the first 15 to 30 days. After that, we've got the long-term follow-up, which is where you just continue to. We have a buddy of mine that has this theory that I like. Well, not theory. He has a saying that I like, which is we follow up until they buy, they die, or they unsubscribe. Those are your three options. Either die, you're not going to receive the information. You're going to buy, boom. Now we're going to put you over here as a buyer, or you unsubscribe because I'm tired of hearing from you. But those are the three buckets that we put you in. So when combining, one of the things you don't want to do, and we'll talk more about this with the long term, is send something everybody else sends, the booty call follow-up. And y'all know what I'm talking about. You're sending messages out. Nate, what are some of the messages, the booty call messages that the majority of agents send out, especially when they're using the customized customized drip sequences in the CRM? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, they're all the generic ones, right? So the things that you see on, say, LinkedIn is a good one, or Twitter, where you see a half a dozen agents all post the same image and the same stat at the same time on the same day. Like that. Oh, it's spring cleaning time. Oh, don't forget to turn your clocks back. Like those types of, oh, here are 10 things that I really like about, listing your home. Like the thing, or the other broad one. Congratulations to my sellers. Like you're sending stuff that is not at all customized or unique to what that person came in and asked about. And it is clear to them that you're not sending them something that addresses the pain point or the question that they had. You're just sending them something that just adds to the clutter. And in many cases, these are people who have reached out to multiple agents or what they perceive to be multiple information sources, trying to get an answer to a specific question, trying to learn about a very specific property. So they're probably receiving some sort of that variation, some variation of that generic communication from multiple places. So not only are you not giving them what they asked for, but you're also giving them the same thing that everybody else is giving them. So that doesn't really work in your favor.
Yeah, and a side note, real quick, if you stay for this whole video or you watch this whole video, if it's the replay at the end, we're going to show you, we're going to give you a PDF guide that'll show you how to create 12 months of follow-up in 60 minutes. All right, so next we went through the direct, we went through automation. Now we have top of mind. So what is top of mind? Top of mind is remarketing. Have you ever visited a site and you're looking for some shoes, let's say the new Nike Air Maxes, or I'm not a Nike person, so I don't even know if that's a thing, but let's say the new Nike Air Maxes. Then you're off doing your business, you're on the MLS, you're on Zillow, you're on whatever other site, checking up kids' grades, grandkids' grades, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden, those Nike Air Maxes are following you all around the internet. That's also follow-up. It's called invisible. I like to call it invisible follow-up, but it's remarketing. So a great way to stay top of mind even when you forget, and if you don't have automation in place but you do have direct, you can follow people around Instagram, follow them around Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google. Using the process that we teach, you can follow people around YouTube, you can follow them around hundreds of thousands of websites that have Google connected to them. So now there's multiple ways. That's a whole tune-up in itself, where the different types of messaging that you can do when you follow people around. And here's the advantage. You have 6 months to circle back with those people. So for instance, if you're doing Instagram and Facebook, every time somebody raises their hand or half raises their hand or full raises their hand, they get dropped on an invisible list. And that invisible list, you can now follow these people around as long as they raise their hand at some level for 6 months on Instagram and Facebook. You can do nothing for 5 months and 25 days and then start marketing to them. If you wait till after 6 months, the audience disappears. So think about building your own personal media audience. Now, if we're talking about Google and YouTube, you have a year and a half. So you can build that out and you can just show yourself to the people that raised their hand. You can just give specific information, details. That's a whole separate segment. We'll go deeper into that in the accelerator, and we might go deeper into that in some other places too. But leveraging images and video to follow people around, stay top of mind. Nate, do you have any tips or strategies of how you like to do that?
Well, my favorite is to just look into whatever they came in for, right? So if they raise their hand about a waterfront property, then you're following that around about stuff that is involved in the waterfront lifestyle. But if they came in about a downtown nightlife property, then you're following around about nightlife stuff, tips, tricks, whatever that may be. I think there are very unique ways, and obviously we get into this deeper, in the accelerator. But there are very specific ways that you can provide value and be unique at the same time, so that when someone has raised their hand, even if they're busy, moving, shaking, doing a bunch of other things, when you can still maintain that mind share with them by following them around the internet, showing, hey, here's value that's related to what you're looking for. Eventually, they're gonna circle back to you.
Exactly. And most agents are forgettable, which is why they get so frustrated with, well, why did you buy with someone else? Or why didn't you call me back again? Because what never happens is, oh, yes, I remember you sold me the house, or I remember you did this, or you handed me your card a year and a half ago. Let me call you back. That's not how things really work. The only way, because everybody is not just you as an agent, everybody is busy. Everybody forgets, or everybody has good intentions and means to reach back out, but they don't. So it's your job to become memorable. So if anybody is following the iconic agent whatsoever, you see an email almost every single day. Does that annoy some people? Buy, die, unsubscribe. It might annoy some people, but it really doesn't, because we're giving value. So we're not giving booty call messages. Bye 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 bye. We're giving value, and that's a segue into, we talked about briefly about what most agents do, and I actually have a series of videos I'm going to put together where I mistakenly went into one of the social media sites and I put a term in, and I was scrolling. I forgot what I was looking for, and I saw a message. I was like, that's cool. And I scroll the messages some more, and it's the same message with a different logo. And then I scrolled, and then it's just bing, 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 just like Nate mentioned. I was like, oh, that's lazy. With AI and so much that you can do. So one of the things you want to do is, and this, if you get anything from this conversation at all with follow up, and this works for your pipeline right now, be your sphere, future leads, past leads, pipeline, however you want to phrase it, be their vision board. No one cares about interest rates, what you sold, what you have for sale, what's available once they moved into the house. And that is ultimately their goal. Now, if you're dealing with investors and things like that, you approach this different. This is strictly for residential. If I'm moving into a house, yes, I care about that up front. You still want to share that. That's the booty call follow up. Give them lifestyle related information. It is your job to be their vision board so they can envision themselves in the home. What does that look like, Nate?
Well, there are a bunch of different ways that plays out. Is you have to sort of future pace what they're looking for. We talk about, as you get into in the accelerator, we talk a little bit more about this.
So
What does
hold
their
on,
life
let
look
me
like?
back it up. Because you and I will talk geek speak and marketing. What does future pace mean?
What does your life look like later? Like, so we're going to assume that you already bought the house and you have the view that's behind, you guys see behind Damon, right? Okay, so once you live there, what are you doing? Like, that's the point. Where are you having dinner? Where are you jogging at? Where are you walking your dog to? Where are you doing date nights? Where do you take the kids to go play? Like, so making sure that you are addressing the fact that a lot of these people know what they want, but they don't know where they're going to be once they get what they want. So making sure that you're not just addressing the what, you're addressing the where can be a very powerful thing to sort of educate them on stuff that they didn't know, and differentiating you from other people who may be reaching out to them.
Yes, and here there we'll give you some topics in a minute, but before you even can do this, you can do this with just some generic topics like, here's the best places to eat pizza. Here's the best places to cigar bars, best wine bars, best yoga studios, best health food store. You can do all that kind of stuff. And those are really good, by the way. And when you do those, typically we'll start off with email. But once you do them as email, then you'll get the idea light bulb, bing. I can create a reel about this or a short, or I can create a video about this. Absolutely. And like I said, at the end of this conversation, once this is rendered on the Tune-Up archive page, you're going to have to register for the Tune-Up to get this. We're going to give you a PDF download that will tell you exactly how to, it gives you about 40 or 50 topics. But before you do that, the best way that you can approach this whole conversation around follow-up is know who your ideal client is. Who is your ideal buyer? If you don't know that, you'll be talking to everybody. But when you know exactly what makes them tick, what their fears are, what their pains are, what their desires are, now you can dial in and you can really hit them in the gut in a good way. So if you've ever read something online, read an email, read an article, saw a Instagram post or story or anything, you're like, man, that's so, or even an infomercial, you're like, man, that's so me. It's because you're their ideal client. They understand you, sometimes better than you understand you. So it's you must get to know who your ideal client is. If you're not familiar with that, we talked about that on the November 19th tune-up. Go back in the archives of the tune-up. We walk through the process to do that. That will help you. But when you know who you're talking to, now you can find out what lifestyle and information that they're aspiring for. You can leverage that. Now, as far as topics, what are some topics and some ideas, Nate, to just a quick run off the top of the head? We're not going to go deep into this because we're almost at the half hour mark.
Yeah, well, to sort of tie back to that future pacing, lifestyle topics. What are you going to do? So I in my mind, even when I'm talking to clients in person, I sort of think of, well, what does a date night look like, right? So if we're going to go out to dinner, then you probably want to know a couple of nice restaurants, right? Okay, and then after we go to the dinner, well, you probably want to know a couple of nice dessert spots, right? So, and if you got kids, then you probably might want to know some great places for play dates, right? So
Kids eat
making
free.
sure exactly. So putting those types of things in there for that type of value add lets the person that's engaging with that content know that you see them, you understand them, and you're probably speaking to them in a way that no other agents have spoken to them.
Exactly. So, and when you're speaking to them, you want them to feel that. There's another follow up that I'll throw in here. I know Nate usually mentioned this, and this is more so once you get the buyers in, but it's awesome. It's a client gifting service. What's that client gifting service, Nate?
Oh, Client Giant. Client Giant. So Client Giant is spectacular for once you have clients that have already done a deal with you. So let's say you have uh, a rental. You do a luxury rental and you want to stay in touch with them for the next 12 months because you think they're going to buy. Client Giant will send them a gift every quarter from you, a really nice, unique gift, right? Same thing with buyers, where all of my clients, whenever they buy on closing day, I sign them up for Client Giant. Client Giant has gotten me referrals. It keeps me top of mind because it's completely automated and does that gifting for 12 months. You can sort of set it, forget it, and you'll get thank yous, right? So you'll get random calls from clients or text messages. Oh, thank you so much for this gift. And you'll have to remember that you were sending them gifts. So it's a very powerful tool, super cost effective. So we can share you a little bit more about that in the accelerator.
Yeah, and the key he mentioned being memorable. When a client gets that from you, like, oh, bet you your real estate agent didn't send you this cool little widget over here. Well, mine did, and I remember him. And that, like you said, he's gotten referrals from that. He's gotten more business from that because it's an automated process, but it's showing that you care. Now, some more quick topics that Nate kind of named some of his topics. Some of the ones I like to do are little known. So, like little known facts. St. Pete area is an area that I focus on, and I love the beach. I like to go to the beach. I love Clearwater Beach um, for its clear water. And St. Pete Beach is cool too. But the challenge is everybody knows them and they're huge touristy. So I'm like, if somebody's living in Clearwater or St. Pete, they don't really want to deal with all those people as great as the beaches are. So let me look at this. So I went and looked for little known little known beaches. I like to do little known facts, little known history, um, popular restaurants that aren't touristy if you're in a touristy area, but like just adding some spins to things that they could not get or they wouldn't know to get themselves. That's actually a good one. I actually just got off a hour call today, which serves for multiple purposes with follow up, but something that Nate does and something that I've started to do is I interview on site reps and I have a conversation with them and get all the details about what's coming, the growth, the floor plans, and kind of walk through that. And that's something that I use for follow up through video, but I also will use that for follow up in emails because I can send them to the email and say, hey, here's the latest update about this community. That serves two purposes. One, you're borrowing the authority of the on-site rep. So they're like, wait, you really do this. You know this. This is your partner, and they're endorsing you. So if they go in there without you, and they say, yeah, I saw this Damon Green guy, this Nate guy, um, or they're like, yeah, I was watching this. Now the rep can call and say, boom. So there's a lot of opportunities there that will fall into play, and we'll talk more about that in the accelerator. But that's it for today. We're just at about top of the hour, so we like to keep these 30 minutes. There's more value. So let me jump over here to, let's get back over here to the deck. All right. So to get the archive, go to the iconicagent.com/tune-up. This is where you will get all the resources, tools. This is major value in there right now. There's about I believe there's 7 or 8 episodes in there so far. And then we also give away some extra bonuses. So super valuable if you are someone that is just getting started, if your budget is tight, if you're like, I just want to learn something that's actionable, much like what we just talked about, go to the iconicagent.com/tune-up, sign up. You'll have instant access to everything in there that we talk about here, as well as the bonus resources. And today, when this episode goes live, we're going to put in there the 12 months of 60 minutes. That is actually something we've sold for $97 before. It's got major value. You get opportunity for it. Just take action on it. And lastly, the 6-week new construction buyer traction accelerator waiting list. I think we've probably got about 50 people on there so far. We're only accepting 20. Action takers or money makers. Right now we're in week 3, the buyer traction mode. So we've got 2 more weeks before the doors to the accelerator open. This is application only. It's not for everybody. It's not cheap. It's not super expensive. We're actually bringing Black Friday in February, January, February. So stay tuned for that. If you're on the waiting list, you will get the first opportunity to grab a spot. There are only 25 spots. If the first 25 people that submit are from the waiting list, it's closed. Have to wait till the next one, which will be next quarter. Go to the iconicagent.com/waiting list. The applications will open in about 2 weeks. And if you want the more in-depth, over-the-shoulder, free 5-week training that, again, is still actionable. It's not all the how-to hands-on, but it's actionable. You can take it, learn something, and go implement it. Totally recommend you sign up for the waiting list. Either or, there's no obligation if you're on the waiting list, but there is a lot of value there. So go to the iconicagent.com/waiting list, and we will see you guys next week, same time.